the moment in Aliens when Ripley's running through the station and everything's blowing up and it's on fire, and she runs through a kind of wall of steam and she finds herself in a room, a big chamber, surrounded by alien eggs, and looking at the egg-laying creature itself, seeing its giant egg sac, seeing the creature itself. And everything goes very quiet. And you're in this kind of a dream within the greater dream of the movie, this kind of very dreamlike, out-of-body kind of moment where everything's in slow motion and it gets very quiet. Even though you know that explosions are going off and all sorts of stuff, you're suddenly in this subjective reality. That came from a dream where I went into a dark room, I walked to the center of the room, and I looked around, and as my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I realized that every square inch of the walls and the ceiling were covered by wasps. And I knew I couldn't make it to the door before they got to me, so I just froze. And I don't remember what happened next, doesn't matter, but the point is that that idea of suddenly realizing you're in an extremely threatening space, and the only thing you can do is freeze and think your way out of it, was the nucleus of an idea that then got turned into what ultimately became Ripley's first encounter with the alien queen in the egg chamber, which stylistically is an interesting scene because I wanted to capture that feeling. Know what it is that you're feeling, that you want the audience to feel, and then start talking to people and figuring it out and experimenting around and figuring out how to convey that feeling to your audience. All right, so we're jumping way forward in the film now. They're at the atmosphere processing station, everything's blowing up. So it's very loud. I mean, we're literally pinning the needle in the sound design in the mix. We're in the red. Explosions are happening, and she's running. We're mixing very subjective, handheld, moving shots with fire, with explosions. You know, we're blowing cork chunks from air mortars, and we're blasting her with shots from CO2 fire extinguishers, and we've got fire gel burning, and we're shaking the camera to suggest that it's a kinetic, very frenzied kind of sequence. We're on a fairly long lens here. It's handheld, fairly long lens. I can't tell you right now. I don't remember. It might be a 50 or 60 mil. We're hand holding and we're walking backwards with her. So it's very shaky. We feel that sense of the energy of the whole place coming apart. Sound design has been very loud and concussive and lots of camera shake. And it all fades away. And the only thing that's left is this kind of droning sound and her breath. Now the whole place is still shaking and blowing up, but we've just gone into an altered state of awareness. And the speed ramp, we used to call it a speed ramp. Now you do it as a digital post effect to change the speed. So we've gone from 24 to 48 frames a second, so we're in slow motion. We're in an extreme close-up on Sigourney that she's walked into, and she's looking around seeing something. She's seeing it before we're seeing it. So it's that same thing, the audience's interest. They're leaning forward. What is it that she's seen? What has stopped her? She's been running as fast as she can. She's been running with the little girl to get out. We know that seconds count. We know the whole place is going to blow up. What she's doing doesn't seem to make any sense. So there's a strange nightmarish quality to it. It's that same nightmarish quality as in the nightclub in Terminator. The slow motion is telling you something, and it puts you into an altered state of awareness. And the sound design is doing the same thing. All the explosions have gone away. All the steam blasts and fire effects and deep subwoofer shake has all gone away. And it's gone very clear and very thin. And the only thing you hear is her breathing. So something's going on. What has she seen? Shitballs. 100 alien eggs. And she's standing right in the middle of them. So it's a nightmarish image. It's kind of her worst nightmare. So we have the wide shot, the wide reveal shot with all the eggs. And this is like all the eggs we could afford to build. If we could do it now digitally, same scene, it would go on. There'd be more eggs. We'd do a digital extension. We'd build 10 eggs, and we'd digitally extend it with another couple hundred, to really hammer the point. But it plays. So, and I think that's a good lesson. If you can't afford to do a digital extension of 100 eggs, make as many as you can, and it'll still work. The concept will still work. So now we just hear this very echoey kind of drone and her breathing as her eyes slowly track around. And again, we're still in slow motion. I want you to feel the anticipatory, whatever it is. It's a joyful experience to feel strange, anxious emotions in a movie. That's what you paid for. That's what you came here for. So if you're giving the audience what they came for, you extend it. You stay in that state. So she hasn't seen it yet. She still hasn't seen it. Now we're really milking it. She's turning. We're still in slow motion. What are we hearing? The little pilot light of her flamethrower and that strange machine-like droning that tells you she's deep in the heart of the station, but it sort of reminds us that we're deep in the heart of this insect hive. She still hasn't seen it, but she knows it's behind her. And it's that feeling in a dream, in a nightmare, where you don't want to turn, and you don't want to turn, and you don't want to turn, but you know you're going to turn. And the audience plays the game. And they know the language of this. They know it's there. They know it's there behind her. So we're even milking the turn farther. Now I've punched in. And the moment where I see her eye, see it, is going to be the payoff. But we've built to it with, I think, 6 shots already. So I'm focused on her far eye. When you're on a lens this long, you have to pick which eyes to focus. And sometimes it's a question of some debate with the camera operator. You got to pick an eye. Well, we picked that eye because we could see it better. This one's hidden in darkness. We're not interested in Newt here. We're following Sigourney. So Newt, even though she's right there in the shot, she's out of focus. We're following Ripley. Ripley's about to meet her nightmare. So the shot ends when she has seen something, and we're going to cut to it. Now, we may expect to cut to something that we recognize, an alien. That's not what we're giving you. What we're giving you is something mysterious. It's the thing that's laying the eggs. So now that's progress. Now we're seeing where the eggs come from. Her eyes go up, follow it around. We see the eggs inside it. We see it glistening. We see it moving. It's a biological thing. It's not like anything we've seen before. We're curious. We're afraid. It's still got a nightmarish quality, but we're getting there. We're coming toward the answer, and we're several shots into the sequence of this reveal now. We're about to reveal the thing itself. She keeps looking. It's mysterious, it's alien, it's enigmatic, and it's big. What this shot tells you, because we jump back over her, is it's big. Whatever it is, it's big, and it's mysterious. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. Maybe it's bones, maybe it's an insect. Probably alive, and yes, it's moving. So now it's going to reveal itself, not only to her, but obviously to us. And the teeth extend. And yes, it's definitely an alien, but it's not like anything we've seen before. And we immediately go from that reveal to the reveal that there's not just one, but there's a whole army of them. Ripley immediately knows that for Newt to survive, she has to survive. She has to get out of here somehow. And she's surrounded by alien warriors, and they're faster than she is, and they're far more powerful than she is. So she's not going to fight the warriors. She's going to negotiate with the alien queen, and that's exactly what she does. So she sees the threat. She's surrounded by the type of alien we've seen before. The setting down of Newt is the gunslinger pushing their cloak open to reveal their 6 gun. She's going to fight. Or is she? Now we're in the queen's perspective. Now we're seeing the little human in the egg chamber from the queen's perspective. And she does something we don't expect. She opens fire on the eggs, and the queen's response is instantaneous, and the audience understands what it means. Ripley's going to burn the eggs. She hasn't done it yet, but she can. She's found the queen's weakness, and she points the gun at the eggs. There's not a line of dialogue in the whole scene. And you see by the gesture that the puppeteers were able to create. And remember, this is all practical effects. This is not CG. You could do it with CG. There's no reason not to. or you can do it with practical effects like we did here, and there's a place for both. The way the alien queen lowers its head tells you that it's intelligent enough to understand. And she's resolute. The way Sigourney played it was, that's right, I mean business. Do we have a deal? And the alien queen looks one way, and Ripley follows, and that warrior backs off. She looks the other way and hisses. She tells the other warrior to back off. It's all in gesture. And Ripley says, okay, I'm gonna take this equipoise and I'm gonna use it and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. And again, we milk it. We fetishize the moment. We make it palpable by doing an insert of the feet, walking through the slimy roots of the egg so that we feel it. We feel what she's feeling. We're with her. We hear what she hears. We see what she sees. We feel what she feels. So we're there with her. Our hearts are pounding. And she knows that this truce isn't going to last. And then an egg opens. Now, does the queen control the eggs and when they hatch? Is the queen about to unleash 100 facehuggers? She doesn't trust that the truce is going to last. So she says, fuck it. And then it's on. So from this moment, because in the queen's mind, Ripley broke the truce, it becomes a revenge story. It's revenge for her burning, for Ripley burning her babies. And what's the principle at work here? It's not two men going at it to see who is más macho. It's two women protecting their children with the fury of the protective mother. And so the conceit here was it's a different motivation. It's a different motivation for a heroic action character, in this case, Sigourney's character. It's a different motivation for a monster than you've seen before. Because I don't believe in villains. I believe everybody's got a reason for doing what they do. So what was the alien queen's reason for relentlessly hunting her down? This became a personal story at this point. And I think a lot of the power of it came from that. So you have to understand, it's not like I knew going in exactly every beat of how this came out. It was an exploration. I did a lot of coverage on this. I tried some things. I didn't know it was going to work, trying the speed ramp, trying the slow motion thing. I wanted to do something. I had a goal, which was to create that subjective kind of out-of-body, dreamlike, nightmarish experience. I didn't exactly know how to go about it. I experimented, talked to the DP, we figured some stuff out, and it evolved. And where it really kicked up to the next level was in the sound design, in the mix. And I remember right now, it was one of the most satisfying experiences I've ever had on a mixing stage, was mixing this scene. And when we finished it, we all looked at each other and we knew we'd done something because we had fulfilled the promise of that nightmare.